Hello, friends. Or I should say, what are we doing? Well, let's take a look. The last time, well, I was live streaming a couple times because I was being a lazy bum and didn't want to deal with saving video files and all the rest. So, in a nutshell, I will say this: this is really what we have. There's ways to just get things, edited. And so now we're back to the beginning, and definitely the takeaway. I shouldn't say we're back to the beginning. We're back to the 4-minute point. This is where the real story starts. We're 4 minutes into it, and so actually this should be on. Blah blah blah. So you get this 15 years later, and you see Asher out essentially feeding the poor. Thank you, Asher. It's nothing. And where's that Melchizedek? And we see this door. Swings open. And we see his eyes, and there's Melchizedek. Okay, so that's that. And we're we're at one of the absolute most challenging shots probably in the entire show. When I did the storyboard, I knew this one was going to be a challenge. And honestly, it's not that tough as much as I thought it would be. Here's the pencil test. Okay. So he kicks the door shut and then kind of tinkle and then starts walking. And then if we refer back to the storyboard, what happens is he does that, and then you see him come through here, and then you got a bunch of stuff that happens, and actually leads to this shot about 5 shots away where we actually meet TNR for the first time. So it's cool stuff. So this shot, boom. Okay, so what are we going to do here? Well, let's refer back to Blender for the last shot, and we'll wind up doing this shot in Blender as well. It's going to end up there. Now Blender's acting a little bit stupid on the emit value of the material, so let me correct for that. It's just have to shake it awake basically, because it actually goes from dark and then he emerges out of there. So, but this to use that loop here, the bowls are together with Mel, but I actually rendered the bowls out all by themselves so that we've got a loop that we can shrink down, and so that pretty well sums up what we have here. But the interesting thing about this shot is that most of the moving parts are really only drawn in a couple different orientations. So if you see the top of his body, it's all one shot until you get here. And then you got a tween, and then you got this other shot, right? Same could be said of his legs. It's actually, if we actually create the legs as kind of a solid, maybe on their own layer, you know, then for the most part, the legs only need to be drawn, yeah, just a few times. So, okay. So we already have this done. Okay. So we don't really need to concern ourselves with the background. Therefore, let's put a layer up top, and we'll call this, I guess we'll call it pencil test, just for kicks and giggles. What we're really going to do though is put it in a group and call this group Mel, and this group is going to, I actually shouldn't even call it pencil test. I'm not even going to give it a name because actually, the sensible approach to this is going to be to go ahead and create multiple layers right out of the gate. Okay, so I'm going to... Mel's got a little pinker skin than Asher did, so... Alright. Let's just get focused here. So I think what I'm going to do, for lack of a better idea, is just get the legs in there. Okay, that's the... I guess that would be his R leg. Alright, and this would be his... You guessed it, his L leg. So we'll call that L leg. So we're definitely doing this from a kind of a puppet animation approach. Why the heck not? Okay, now we do need a color key, so bear with me while I look over on the other screen for my character key, my color key. We'll just smack that in there. And then we'll go back to the storyboard, and that way we've got this. Okay, so here's another paint layer, and now let's pause for a moment. And so honestly, up until this point, his entire body is one layer. So okay. Apparently, Krita decided not to catch that color. There we go. Okay. Boom. So now the question about this, I suppose, becomes: are we going to go ahead and use the, let's see, we'll go ahead and push this up above the group so it effectively acts like ink for the moment, because we're probably going to use it that way, if the truth be known. Okay, so this goes here, and now we need to make a decision about his hands, because his right hand really isn't in the picture. We're going to have to set the bowls over top of him. Hopefully we will get there. Okay, so we're still in behind mode, so that means we can't make a mistake as far as coloring goes. But we do need to go back to normal mode to put these in. And technically these are actually a different color. Well, not technically, they're actually a different color. Okay, and right here we would probably see that. Okay, so now on his left leg, boom, we need to go ahead and let's just kind of use our ink color. I'm going to try to keep everything on single layers as much as possible. So this is a bit of an exception to the rule. So what I'm trying to do is establish my ink color right out of the gate so I don't have to tweak it later. Hope that made sense. So I guess we'll give him little crossy thingy dingies. I don't know, that doesn't quite feel right to me. I actually don't think he should have any of those, so I hate to have to keep undoing, but I'm going to keep the sandals simple. So let's give the sandals some soles. And then again, because we're trying to keep everything... Oops, I just made a mistake. Well, that's okay. I can solo this layer. And here's what we'll do. We'll go XV, unsolo that layer, And now we can take this paint layer that just got created and bake it down into the right the right leg. Cool beans. Okay, so now what I was about to say but didn't really get around to saying is that by the same token, I think we want to go ahead and get a shadow color going here. In other words, I'm trying to avoid actually using a shadow layer. Oh, we must have a selection right now. This is the right leg? Yes. Yeah, okay, that worked. Alright, I don't feel like that's quite dark enough. Okay, and then on the left leg, obviously that's underneath the, whatever you want to call it, the skirt. Whoops. See, I just made another mistake. This is actually the problem, by the way, with puppet animation in the sense of do we want to ink them up? Or do we want to, remember, these are just going to be animated in the simplest possible way. So I think what we're going to do is just go left leg. Let's just make a copy of this and then do our simple typical processing, which is going to be a 3 pixel blur followed by a curves where we crank it down to black, and now we have, and then we'll bake that down. Okay. Hold on, something just went wrong. Copy of left leg. Oh, I see. Mel, blah, 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 blah. Oh, so I see the right leg is not in the group. How silly of me. Let's dupe that, smack it down, do the filter, blur. Oh, come on, Krita, why don't you remember what I wanted to do? Okay, and bake that down. So now that's cool because we've got, with a little correction required, frankly. Yeah, let's do a little correction here. Hello. Yeah. Drawing into the wrong layer. Dyslexia moment. Okay. Oh yeah, okay. When I say dyslexia moment, folks, I mean it. And that can be a bit annoying, actually, but there we go. Okay, so we got the legs. And now we got this. Let's get the quote-unquote ink in there. We got to keep this pretty simple because it is moving around, and so we need to be cognizant of the fact that if we put too many pleats and things in there, then we're kind of baking that into the clothing in such a way that where it's highly likely that he's going to move in some way where those particular pleats don't make sense. But if we keep it really, really simple, then shouldn't be a problem. Okay, let's get a little bit of shadow action in there. Again, we're baking it in. A lot of this will not be seen because it's going to be covered up by those bowls. And by the way, actually, I think this is kind of important. Let's close that up. And then kind of go like this. Because this is one of those stupid little things that you wouldn't think about it unless you think about it. But what's going on here is that if you're gonna just overlay the animation of the bowls over top of him, then you can't create a situation where his thumb needs to cover up the bowls, right? So okay, and now let's take this, get a shadowed version of that. Yeah, something like that. This is all going to be in shadow. And in all reality, most of this would be. So we'll just kind of smack the shadows in there. Like I said, we're baking them in. Normally I don't do that. It's normally bad policy, actually. Normally you want to keep your shadow stuff on a separate layer. And this is kind of one reason for that, by the way. Actually, I can see right now is that, let me make some adjustments here on my screen. I'm going to select a similar color. Which is a bit silly, but I wonder if I can just go like 5, put in a number. Let's try that. Okay, that's better. Okay, so now we can hit the M key. And what we're going to do is, let's knock down the saturation on that color. And why is the saturation not getting knocked down? Let's create a filter mask. I better save my work. Krita's acting a little silly. Now, I will say that, I mentioned this the other day, but Krita 4.4 beta, which is what this is, has been very very performant. It's done a good job. It's only crashed a few times. Let me see. Okay, so that seems to work. So I want to lighten it a bit, and honestly that helps in and of itself, but I also want to, why it's not oh, I guess it is acting on the saturation. It's a pretty subtle change though, I must say. Yeah, I'm gonna tweak it a little more. I'm just not digging the level of saturation. Okay, that's probably better. So let's just flatten that layer. Okay, a few more tweaks and we'll be ready to move on to getting his face drawn and then dive into animation of this thing per the pencil test that was done. Oops, previously. I'm sitting here doing this with the wrong color. That's not good. You don't want to be doing that, little buddy. Nope, nope, nope. Okay. Now, is his head going to be toggling around? Let's pop up this again. Let's just take a look at. Well, kind of shockingly, it's not too much, but I think the safe thing to do here would be to do our outlines the standard way. So let's filter, blur, 3 pixels, go, Control M, knock her down to zilcho. And we better turn this off so we can kind of see what we have. And bake it down. Okay. Alright, so now we got to get his face in there. So let's add another layer. I mean, I guess we could put it on there. I guess there's no big reason to. If we're going to be adhering to what I did in the pencil test, then we're okay with baking his face into this. And remember, we can always separate it back out again, by the way. Okay, so I'm kind of winging it here on his hair color because I've done it so many times that I kind of learned what the color is. So okay, and you can see how fuzzy this is, i.e., you know, he's pretty small on the screen, definitely. Okay, now let's go to kind of our ink-ish color. And since we're here, I'm just going to do the outlines by hand. It's like it takes half a second. There we go. N key. Okay. Better save our work. Save early, save often. Okay, so I am not going to put the even try to do the bowls in here. So okay, so let's just do this one little piece at a time. I need to make an adjustment to this. Control M. I tend to use curves for just about everything. And I tell you, I hate to do this. Oh, come on, really? Okay, it won't do us any good to bookmark it. Let's pause a moment. Let's turn this back on. Okay, what we're trying to do is get a little closer to this color, okay? So I'm just going to leave that up there. Control M. And now I'm just kind of assuming that there's going to be a hotter red component. Okay, yeah, so it's definitely orange-ish. What I'm trying to do right now is not an easy thing to do. It's kind of interesting that the red channel doesn't seem to be doing too much. So let's crank the saturation. Okay. And yeah, it isn't perfectly perfect, but it's probably close enough for rock and roll in this case. So we're going to grab that. And let's use the last used, and it does nothing. Okay, hold on. This is that leg. There we go. Let's grab this leg. Okay, and that sucks because we have to change now we have to change the shadows. So that's okay. That's okay. This is a bit of tedium. What if let's do that. Now this is a classic example of I'm having to work much harder than I should have to work, just because I just made a boo-boo, spitballed the skin color when I really shouldn't have. So okay, that will work. File, save. Okay, let's turn this on. And now what we're going to do, we don't need this. What we really need to do is going to be, okay, yeah, a little bit clunky, but so the first thing actually, so let's grab his right leg with the animate tool, and basically what I'm doing is I'm duplicating what I did when I did this in the pencil test. Okay, so I'm going to stretch his foot out just a little bit so I can then rotate it, and you'll see, you know, it patches together fine. Okay. Alright, what's next? Okay, and then his left leg goes over yonder. So let's find kind of the anchor point, and there it is. And now, okay, so this is going to be interesting. So now what we need to do is, let me double check this. Okay, yeah. So this is actually going to be this one again. Alright, and we're going to move it a little bit. We probably should, well, I mean, that's actually going to be okay. That's going to be okay. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to grab this, anchor it on his hip action, kind of bend it like that, and then this is where, boy, it could definitely be argued that I probably should have done this in, I should have done this all in Blender or Tahoma, but that's okay. We'll just keep rocking here. So the A key, anchor it on his belly button, and we just need to swing him back like that. So then of course we're going to need a little patch there, but that's okay. Doing the patching is relatively easy. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we want to, let's get these labeled now. Otherwise I'm going to start getting confused. Body, left leg, right leg. Okay, so that way when I look down here, I'll see what I'm supposed to see. So now his body, what we want to do here is grab this body and drag it back over here. So we're starting with the cleanest one. Hit the A key, and let's just, something's wrong. Okay, so I see. So yeah, we got to get the legs fixed there. Okay, so fine. We're good. Again, we'll just blame that on a dyslexia moment. I probably could have used the previous frame, truth be known, just because he's still got a bit of a bend in his body. We'll go with that. Let's grab his left leg. I said let's grab his left leg. Anchor it down here. Just do a slight shift. Actually, let's keep going with this. Let's do a Okay, I did not expect that to work. But it worked, so there we go. Alright, so now what we've got is a complete flipperoonie. So let's go A. Take this whole thing, flip, and let's just move it over here. Don't even think about it, just try this. we're just going to liquefy it, man. Like so. Okay, that's still got to be patched, obviously. Let's see what the next pose is. Okay, that's interesting. I think this would be an example where we probably want to go back to here. And let's grab this, do a free transform, flip it, angle it about the same, and see what we have. Okay, so we'll do a slight bit of I was going to say plastic tool, a little bit of can't talk and think at the same time. A little bit of the Liquify tool here. Okay, so let's flip this, smack it over here, and then as you can see, I'm going to go ahead and just leave his heel up. I like that. That's cool. So now we'll go here, right leg, and I am aware of this anomaly right here. Don't worry about it. We'll get to it. Okay, let's just go ahead and fixie poo. I'm using my mouse. I probably should be using my tablet, but no big deal. Okay, this is definitely interesting. So let me see. Okay, yeah, so let's go back to this shot. Okay, free transform, and let's just go to here. So we're back in this situation, and whoops, okay, that was stupid. You have to, if you do a free transform, you need to hit enter to accept it before you switch to the Liquify tool. All right. So that looks good. That looks good. All right. Standard free transform. So this is not necessarily the definitive way to do this, but it works pretty well. I mean, it really does. Okay, right leg, free transform, smack it over here. Okay, I want to anchor it there, hit enter, come on, enter, and then I'm going to do a slight liquify on his foot. Now one thing that is nice is because the body parts are on separate layers, it is a little easier to do a distortion of one part without boogering up another part. So now what we have next, I want to turn the turn my guide down a bit. It's a little hot. I want to turn it up just enough so I can just kind of see what's going on. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and animate the body only. Okay, A key, free transform. And we're just going to yep. I'm not even going to think too much about what I'm doing here. Just follow the guide. Okay, so here's where the drawing changes. Okay, fine. So now let's go to his left leg. So what he's doing is he's kind of scooting along. So here, okay, so here it would be the right leg. That's actually just gonna like that. Hold on, let's leave that. Go back to the left leg. It is helpful to alternate between the legs, I must say. Did I just say left? I'm saying left because I'm looking at it and it's on the left. It's in fact his right leg. So, my apologies. My sincere apologies. This needs to be his left leg. Hello? Oh my gosh. Well, that shows how dyslexic I am. This whole time, in point of fact, the whole time, the legs have been named incorrectly, and I've never noticed it. That's amazing. I swear, it boggles my mind. I've never been diagnosed dyslexic, but I've just, I'm really, really sure that I am. Really sure. Okay, so now he turns, and we got to redraw things. Okay. So just for fun, we'll turn this on, and let's grab this region here, save our work. Hello. Let's turn the sketch off, and let's just see what happens, okay? So we're going to just boom, boom. Okay, not bad. Obviously, you can see all the things that need to be patched. And you know, again, well, again, I haven't said it yet, but we do need a shadow under him to help him stay anchored. So right there, we've got an anomaly with the leg. Okay, so here we go. So we need to take this, and I'm going to say we should actually just stretch it. And I'm going to do the same thing here. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, let's do a little fix up. Well, I've talked about this in other videos, but it probably bears repeating that oh, so the anomaly's on this leg. Okay, well that makes it easier to clean up, so great. Boom, 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 right there. There. Right there. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, that's right. It's because I actually swapped the legs out. I forgot I switched them around. Okay, so now let's go in with our pencil. Let's save our work. And I see what's going on. The reason I appear to have named things incorrectly was because they were named correctly through the first period of time. And then because I actually swapped the legs and didn't switch them back, which in my original plan I was actually going to switch them back. So I don't know if that makes sense. But the leg that was labeled right leg, right around this step, this point right here, they switched places, so hence. Yeah, if the truth be known, you could make your corrections in either layer, and at the end of the day it really wouldn't matter much. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is grab this leg, this one, just do a nice little bit of touch up, kind of a Bob Ross Happy Little Clouds kind of situation. And let me see if the flip has taken place. Nope. Just making sure. And here, I guess what I want to do is just use my eraser and then sample that color if I can. Grab it. So, you know, obviously we're breaking his joints to a degree. It's something Richard Williams talks about quite a lot in his book. Animator Survival Kit, I believe is what it's called. I've actually got another book coming today. I ordered the book that Darren T recommended, Timing for Animators. You know, it looks good. Looks like an interesting book because I think it appears to be kind of a cookbook of timing recipes for common situations you bump into in animation. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. That might definitely be useful. I'm going to check it out. It should be arriving from Amazon this very day. How exciting. Alright. Okay, so now another thing that probably could be mentioned here is that let's solo a layer. This will show you how you don't always need to use filter masks to solve common problems in Krita. Okay, if I just add a black layer and then make it alpha locked, you see what this allows me to do is I can just dial in my color correction. Let's see what happens if we do it in overlay mode. Yeah, that's gonna kick up the saturation too much, unfortunately. I actually like the look of that. Actually, let's do it twice. Sorry, that's not what I meant to do. Let's duplicate it and put this one in normal mode. So we're gonna just dial his tone down and his saturation up. Okay. Now this is a little dangerous because we're making his hair hard to see. So I'm going to leave it there at the moment. It might be smarter to use a gradient instead of just a flat filled area. I could put a gradient in there so that he's so that the tone shifts over his body and maybe doesn't let his hair get lost. Or I could go in and animate some nice highlights on the top edge of his hair so that it actually doesn't matter. So yeah, again, let's just take a look here. See how we're doing on time with our 45 minutes-ish. Not too bad. So obviously we need to put the door in there and we need to put some shadows under this guy. So let's go ahead and deal with the shadows. Just because, you know, there's no shortcut. We got to do every single one of these keys. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the foliage brush. Whoops, it's too big. Okay. I'm going to go like that. Alright. And now what I'm going to do is go here, do a little erasing here. And you'll see how we'll touch this up and put it in the right position here in a bit. I guess here what we probably want to do is kind of extend it out just a tiny bit. And we'll erase. Maybe even sneak a little bit up on the wall. We have a major problem, and I just created the quintessential mistake. So, sorry guys. Dumber than a box of rocks. I had never put in the initial keyframe, which means that every time I was making a change, I didn't actually and it's usually better too, so no big deal. So now I'm a little concerned that we're going to get some chatter from stuff that wasn't fully erased. We'll find out here shortly. If so, I have ways of fixing that. Okay, so here's where we were at when I discovered my error. And now what we're going to do is just chase him. Okay, so now the shadow layer obviously needs to be under everything. Number one. Number two, needs to not quite be so bold. Alright, file, save. Boom. Let's go ahead and just run this section here. Okay, so now I am going to add a filter mask that's going to be a blur. 5 pixel blur. Probably fine. This is going to slow down our rendering a bit, so yeah, see that? Krita's now got to calculate that filter for every. So that's stupid. Let's skip the filter blur. Let's do it this way instead. It's a great example of where it's actually faster by kind of a wide margin to do a filter. And actually, let's do it as a motion blur. I'll tell you why. If we do it as a motion blur, actually, and this is exactly the right angle. Let's flip it around and see if that makes, nah, it's fine. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll just jump to the next keyframe and hit Control F. Okay, and I'm actually going to now do the same thing in reverse. In other words, I'm applying this filter twice. Okay, and now I'd say turn it down just a little bit more so it sort of sits in the mix better. Save our work. Okay, and so we got that first section done. I think I started to say earlier and never actually got around to saying it, is that we're going to need to insert the door. So by baking those shadows in, or baking the filter in, I've kept my rendering, or my, like when I play it back, refilling the caches very, very fast because it doesn't have to calculate those filters on every single keyframe. Right. Right. Okay. So now this is going to be actual size. We are, you know, this does have flaws, but we are going to be distracted, I will guarantee you, by this. By those bowls shaking like that is going to hold your attention to a degree to where you're not going to be psychoanalyzing every tiny detail of Mel. In fact, if the truth be known, you see these little cuts right here that need to be fixed, you could actually get away with not fixing them and no one would ever notice in a million years. But because I hate to say such things because it makes me sound sacrilegious to the you know, animation purists out there, I'm gonna be a good boy and fix my nasty flaws. You know, part of the key is knowing what matters, and I wouldn't even say that I'm necessarily an expert at that. Now, one thing that I think would be quite useful here, as a matter of fact, now that I'm thinking about it, is let's grab the Liquify tool and let's just go ahead and boom. Okay, so let's do this. This is going to actually enhance it quite a lot. And I'm going to even add another keyframe to let it settle down. Like so. Especially because this is a hold. You know, once you're at the point where it's going to hold, you want to let things settle down. So I'm going to actually even give it two frames. Okay. Well, actually strike that. I'm not going to do that because I forgot. Let's go through here. And, whoops. Okay, why did the tool reset to full size? That's kind of obnoxious. Maybe it's because I didn't... Oh, man. Okay, Krita 4.4. That is not good. What's not good is that it is actually resetting the Liquify tool every single frame. Oh, that's not good. That's definitely obnoxious. The old version didn't do that. Look at that. I gotta reset it every time. Well, that's what happens. I mean, they make various improvements and break other things in the process, or worse, they change it. I mean, let's face it, the Blender guys are notorious for that. Notorious for like changing hotkeys. You know, for 20 years, you always select everything in Blender with the right mouse button. This was not a big deal. Okay, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I am going to actually make an addition here to help sell this. So, I guess Hello? Okay. We'll go with that. And then what I'll do is take the blur tool, the blur brush, just to make this a little easier. And just... frankly, leaving some of it in there is not a horrible thing. But yeah, having that shadow in there is definitely kind of cool. Okay. Good. That's that. So what I've been finding is it doesn't really matter what I do or how I do it too much. It matters a little bit, but any way you slice it, what I'm finding is it's quite easy to do essentially 15 seconds. Well, okay, I should say 5 seconds of show per hour, which usually amounts to about one shot. Therefore, 6 hours equals 30 seconds. Not a hard, fast rule, but does seem to be the case. Okay, so now one question here would be, yeah, do we want to do a tween? Let's do a tween this way. Let's take this brush. Let's just see what happens. Let's turn the opacity down. Okay, I'm on the shadow layer, duh. Okay, that's probably a bit much. Okay, let's turn the opacity down to about 25%. You know, we're talking about one okay, that didn't work. Sorry. Okay. What am I trying to say here? 24, or talking about 1/8 of a second on the screen. Yeah, so the problem is that the way the keyframes went, oh, I see what I did. Okay, that was stupid. Man, talk about your dyslexia moments. Jeez, oh Pete. Come on, have enough undo steps. Okay. Body. Okay. I have no idea if that's going to look good or not. Not a clue. Oh, I mean, it's probably fine. Okay, but I'm going to tweak it a bit. I'll keep using this brush just because I'm having fun fiddling with it. I'm in the body layer. Need to crank my opacity up. Let's look at it with the color adjustments turned on. Not horrible, not horrible. I don't think I want the shadow to be affected by these overlays, so we'll just turn them back off for now, but later I think we need to separate the shadows out so that the overlays are only affecting him and not his shadow. Okay, so that's that. Alright, where are we at? Let's crank this back up a bit. So we're going to have to put Luca in the shot. And at this point, essentially, there's going to be, for all practical purposes, 2 keyframes required. Okay, so here we need to cut the body. Essentially replace all these in the shadow as well. Okay, so we've got this transitional key, and then we've got this key and this key. I don't know if I really need to put the legs all in their same separate layers. Probably don't need to, but well, if you think about it, he's going to be leaning forward and then he leans back. So yeah, it really should be probably 2 layers. One for the legs and one basically from the waist down and from the waist up would do the trick. Okay, so with that, let's turn the background back off so we can kind of sort of see what we're doing. And we'll add the body from the waist up. Okay. We want this and this. Is this still raw? Yeah, good. That's what we wanted. Alright. So now it's worth noting that what we're about to see on the screen, this keyframe, will in fact be also only on the screen. Okay, hold on a second here. That's interesting. Well, I guess that's the right color. It's amazing. Color is like EQ. It's really easy to let your brain get fooled by context. You get used to, in other words, color is best appreciated in the context of other colors, and when you separate it out, I mean, it quite literally looks like a different color than it was here because it's not surrounded by all the green. I do find that kind of interesting. Okay, grab this. Okay, why did I mention the 1/8 of a second? Well, because this keyframe, this drawing right here, is only going to be on the screen for 1 frame, so therefore it's just frankly not that important of a key. Now this one is more important because it's going to it is going to be moving, but it's also going to be the same pose, you know, over and over. So your brain's going to have time to digest what you're seeing. So I'm not trying to be a lazy bum or a slop cartoonist. I'm just trying to be realistic about putting my time where it actually matters, you know. So in this case, let's go ahead and turn the guide back off, and then we'll just touch this up using our typical inking brush, inking color, da da na 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 na. Okay, let me see here. Boom. Okay, we're not gonna. So again, like I said, I'm not trying to be a jerk. I know this is only going to be on the frame as fast as that tween that I blurred out. That's how long it's going to be on the screen. It just, you're never going to have time to even know what you just looked at. So therefore, you don't want to sweat it too much. Alright. Here, we'll just kind of go like that. Turn our guide back on. And in the left leg, layer, I'll just go ahead and put all of these. Okay, so I'm not going to separate the legs out. There's just no reason to. Do what matters, man. Do what matters. And sometimes, you know, sometimes you just you know, leave things kind of sloppy and loose until you've got. Okay, so by the way, just so you know, everything I just did was wrong. And I'm going to go with it. I'm just going to go with it. So again, this happens all the time in Krita. It's just such an easy mistake to make. I had clicked something, like I probably clicked down here or something, and I didn't click the actual header here or click it here, and therefore when I just put his legs in, I actually put them in on the body layer. So I did not separate the top from the bottom. So that's fine. What I'm going to do is get rid of all those keyframes and just do it. Okay, stop. Why did we... Oh, I see. I see. We need to get rid of these, but we still need these blank keyframes in order that the stuff that was on these layers doesn't keep appearing underneath. Yeah, makes sense. Okay. Okay, so what's next? Okay, this is the shot that's going to matter. This is where we want to be a little more careful. Am I in the body layer? I am. Okay, now. There's definitely an exaggeration to the size of his arms there, but my thinking is that it probably works. You know, there's a time to stretch and squash and, you know, all the rest, so. Okay, let's grab that color, give him his belt, grab that color, which, by the way, I'm going to amend that slightly, make his hair stick out a little better. Okay, so as you can probably see if you look really closely, you'll notice that when this storyboard, or I should say maybe when this sequence was originally planned, and by the way, I just noticed I forgot to give him his armbands. When this was planned, he was he had a different hairdo. So ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba. Okay. And we want to have a little bit there, and then we got to have, boom, that color right here. Okay, that looks pretty good. And now let's see what we have here. Okay, so I just want to look at the legs. Yeah, so the legs are just tilting, and the body's just moving. Yeah, and then it repeats. So, you know, basically what we're going to do is we're going to have this followed by, let's go ahead and just copy that over so that I can make the necessary adjustments. A key. Okay, so now this is a little bit of a slop job because obviously I haven't even completed drawing his face, hence the sorry, thinking and talking at the same time. Because I haven't drawn his face, the free, what's it called? Freehand path tool. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go like that. Sample this and put this more across like that. And then do a slight erasure right there. Okay, so that's essentially, this right here is what's going to be repeated. I would say that I'm seeing definitely a concerning aspect to this leg. Don't really feel like I did the greatest job on the... Sorry. Wrong tool there, folks. Okay. Uh-huh. And actually, this is a little bit dumb looking. Yeah, it's a bit of a skirt. But, gee, I guess that's what they wore back then, right? So... But I'm just feeling like I want this to be a little longer and a little narrower. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so back to outlines. Let's turn off our guides. Hello? Okay. File, save. Yeah, this is definitely one of the most complicated shots in the whole show. Amazing. Amazing how sloppy this is, actually, with the legs. But I'm going to keep going with it. I think I'm okay here. I'm in slightly shaky territory, but not horribly shaky territory. Okay, got that. Boom, boom. No. Guess we want to go. Usually it's slightly rusty. Color on the outlines. It's kind of weird because I'm getting a bit of an optical illusion due to the fact that my rust color, which is essentially a form of red, is being overlaid against green, which is its complement, and that wreaks havoc on your eyeballs a bit. No, no, no. Too sloppy. Too sloppy. Alright, we'll fix that up. Okay, go back to here. So what's going to happen is these two poses are going to get repeated a couple times. Maybe only once. I'll have to look at my timing. I don't remember what I did. Yep, I'll deal with his face shortly. Let's go ahead and get the... no good. I don't know why I'm seeing that red cast right there. Let me solo this layer. Come on. Yeah, that is baked in, so that's going to be problematic. Alright. Yet another thing to fix, I suppose. Okay, back to here. Boom, 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 and boom. A lot of booms going on. So yeah, this sequence of 2 frames is simply going to be copied and then shifted to the left of the screen. Boom. Little ankle. Okay, so now let's see. Yeah, we've got that flaw here, but not here. Let's see if we can fix it that way. Well, that was easy. Okay, so better save our work. Save early, save often, right? It is 4:35 in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Nope. Boom, boom. So yeah, basically the gist here is we just don't want these outlines to be black. We want them to be kind of just a little bit lighter than that. Okay, let's go back here. Okay. I am going to want to turn my guide back on here in just a second. Okay, let's go up here. Okay, yeah, so fine. So there's the body. Alright, so we're going to go with this. Boom. Okay. Now let's zoom out and see what we've got here. And presumably what we're going to do is we're going to duplicate this 1, 2 times. Then we're going to grab the A key, slide it over here, slide it over here. Whew. That's that. And I think we are actually done. We need shadows. Okay. We need shadows. But that's okay. Let's turn the guide off. Just see how things are going now. Yeah, we got 40 frames. Should we turn the background on? Let's turn the background on. Should we turn the filters on? Yeah, let's turn the filters on. Boom. I mean, come on. Come on, guys. Look. This is actual screen size. So this shows you what this is really going to look like in terms of how quick it goes by on your screen. And then it'll be cut. Like, cut right there. Gone. So, yeah, that's working. So we got to get Luca in there. We got to get the shadows on him. We've got to get the door in there. And then, well, I guess I was thinking about maybe putting some birds in the background, but where the heck would they fly? There's no sky in this shot. So it's coming along. And I think I'm going to go ahead and pause there. It has been, an hour and 20 minutes, so that's a good long time. So maybe on the next video I'll go ahead and recap it so you see how it turned out. And as you guys know, there will be more later.